Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, or hopefully it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is the business talk show, and we are celebrating 107 episodes, which is super exciting. My co-host, Mr. Cini, will be joining us momentarily, and we've got a wonderful guest who's actually a friend who is backstage and was just on another show, Adversity to Awesome, and she did so well, and so many people have commented about what a fabulous show it was. So I look forward to bringing our guest out as well as my co-host. First, I just want to mention to you, we have a great opportunity coming out for you, business owners, as well as creatives, anyone who has something to promote, whether it's an event, it's a film, it's a book, it's a song, it's your service, it's your product. It is our reunion show coming up September 18th, 2022. In case you haven't been to one of these before, this is our third one this year. They're so popular that we're going to be having 4 a year. This is an opportunity for you to promote your service, your event, your book, your business, your brand, your charity, whatever it is. It's a $29 fee for 15 minutes of your fame, where you get the whole 15 minutes to yourself. So please do go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book in to join us. We'll be live streaming for 6 hours, and we've got a few spaces left. Okay, so Al's not here yet. I know he'll be here shortly. He is such a dynamo. He's been out there creating and changing and motivating people all across this area that business owners are so interested in, which is building teams and building alignment. Today, we're going to be talking with a business person who has been able to be successful in so many areas, even though she has overcome incredible adversity in her life. And please do go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, and look for Adversity to Awesome. You'll see Brenda's episode. I think it was, I'm going to have to ask her. Well, let's bring her out. Let's bring out Brenda Esdohr. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. It's so nice to be here.
Brenda, you were just phenomenal. The last show that we had you on, I had so many people reach out and say how strong you are, how brave you are. And it's truly an inspiration to have you here today talking about what you're doing as a business owner, which is something that people can do so many things if they would just get out of their little box, their little self-imposed prison. And you are somebody who has decided to take whatever life has handed them, just give it up to God and keep moving on. So We're going to be talking about that. Al Cini's with us. Hello, Mr. Cini. Hello, Al. All right, I guess he's having technical problems.
I am. It's good to be here. It's really nice, really nice to meet you, Brenda. Really nice to meet you. I mean, this connection might be a little slow.
It's a little bit slow.
My regular internet is down, so I'm going in through my iPhone. God only knows how this is going to turn.
All right. Well, thank you, Al. It is a little bit slow, but that's okay. We can make it work.
If all I can do is listen in, I'm excited about this conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Al. So Brenda, I just wanted to give a little bit of background. You and I actually had the pleasure of working with some wonderful people. We worked together and we traveled together on site for a number of customer programs, which is for me, another chapter. But I was so impressed with you by the fact that you've got this this personal and professional integrity that you hold yourself to the highest standards regardless of what has been happening with you.
We'll give it a try, but go ahead. I want to learn more about Brenda.
Okay. I guess that was delayed response. So, Brenda, I'm going to spotlight you. And if you could share a little bit about how has your life, how has what you've been handed transitioned, morphed you into where you are today as an entrepreneur?
Well, what really morphed me into where I am today was the pandemic. My full-time career has been as a travel director working on corporate meetings and corporate incentive travel. And so we all know, and I even know the date, March 11th of 2020, because it was actually my birthday, the day that they declared COVID a pandemic and we all went home. And I was on furlough for 18 months from the job that I do love, still love. And I had to kind of reinvent myself. And then we had during that time, we had a personal tragedy and life-altering incident happen where my husband was severely burned in August of 2020. And we spent a month in the burn unit and a month at rehab and then time after that, which really catapulted us into a direction we never would have seen coming. And when the two collided, it presented an opportunity for a new lifestyle and a new business that we were just decided to embrace. And right now, today, I am coming to everyone live from my mobile studio in our RV in central Iowa. We are full-time RV livers. Tomorrow will be 100 days that we have lived full-time in our RV. And through that process, I found a business opportunity that I am developing and know it will do very well.
Well, congratulations, Brenda. That's super exciting. And we actually have a picture. Shall I show this now?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Tell us what we're looking at.
This is a picture that my husband and I took sitting on the steps of our RV. And in our little hands are our mugs promoting our business, preserving memory lane and helping people to photo minimize to the max. So we're going to help everybody downsize the footprint of their photos, their albums, their memorabilia, whether they're moving into an RV or just a smaller home or assisted living, or maybe kids have been handed all of mom and dad and grandma and grandpa's things. And now we're trying to figure out, what do we do with them?
Such a need for this. And Brenda, I just want to acknowledge the fact you had shared on the other program about your husband. How's he doing? He looked
He's
great.
doing fantastic. Yes. Doesn't he look good? He looks very good. We were very fortunate and blessed that his burn accident did not affect his physical appearance. And although he's nearly a 60-year-old man, appearance is important to everyone. So we're very fortunate in that fact. But his hands and his legs were severely burned and grafted. And so being in the Midwest, that fact is just very difficult for him in the winter times because cold just hurts the grafted areas. So therefore, we're now RVers and looking for a new life and a new business to support ourselves.
Well, that is super special that you two are doing this together and that you're in the RV and it's a 100-day celebration. So I'm just happy for you both.
Thank you.
Al, are you with us? Okay. So I know I'm going to say something and he's going to pop out.
That is great news, Brenda. I'm not sure. I think am I coming through okay enough to be able to ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Brenda, my question is, how do you help senior citizens preserve images, photos, videos that they may have taken? How do you do that?
So that's a really great question. And although I do specialize in helping senior citizens or RVers, it is also the current generation that needs help because they're the ones with all those thousands of photos on their phone. So it's across the board and generational that we help people. But what I do for those that are downsizing or maybe handed grandma and grandpa's things is we meet And we discuss, first of all, we all have to know what the goal is. What do we want to do with them? And how do we not be overwhelmed by it? Oftentimes we look at these totes and totes and totes that we might be handed or that we have created ourselves and put in a closet, and we don't even know where to start, so we just don't. So the first thing I like to do is to let people know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not a train, and we're going to get there one step at a time. And so we look at that first step. And the one thing that I like to encourage my clients to do is to mentally envision what are the 5 most important memories or items that you would be heartbroken if you lost them forever. Just 5. We're not going to look at 6 totes. We're not going to worry about everything. We're going to start with those 5 most important things that if a fire or a flood or a hurricane wiped out your house, your computer, and everything, what would you cry or be sad over the most that you lost? And everyone can make that list of 5 things. And that's where we start.
That's a great place to start. I'm just thinking that the first thing that comes into my head is my doctoral diploma. I would be sick if something happened to that.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
in those cases, when it's a piece of a physical piece of like your diploma or something like that, scanning it and getting it digitized and into a safe, secure, shareable platform is then what we do next. So we take those 5 things, whether it's a videotape, physical documents, physical photos of grandparents, great grandparents, whatever those things are to you. I walk you through the process of getting them digitized, and I have found a company and partnered with a company that does amazing work for digitizing and for allowing you to use a platform that is secure and private and permanent in the cloud for storage. And then that's the next step is let's make them permanent. That way, if that diploma does blow away in the wind, we still have that digital copy of it that you could have reproduced if you would need to.
It's great to know. Brenda, what about when we have photographs or diplomas, for example, and the sun hits them and they start to fade? Is there anything we can do proactively, or do you provide that service, or is that something different?
That is restorative work is something that I help with, that I coach with, that I have resources for if we need to do restorative work, whether it's a photo that's been in the sun and distorted that way, or if it is old reel to reel movies from your grandparents that were improperly stored because, we just didn't know better. Uh, or if it's a VHS, we all remember our VHS tapes. Oftentimes, when they are not stored properly, they'll begin to grow mold. And I do have resources for restorative work and can help with that if there's something that's just invaluable on an old reel or a VHS, or it's a distorted picture from sun damage. There are absolutely resources that we can use to have those restored.
That's really good to know, because just hearing that gives you peace of mind, because we read stories about people losing everything, and the thing that they cared the most about were those pictures or those personal items that can't be replaced. And so you're helping people do that. When did you realize that you had a real business as opposed to a hobby?
I think it was when we started doing the downsizing process. I've started digitizing photos about 8 years ago with my mom, who was our family historian, and bless her heart, she kept everything. And I'm so thankful for that. And she and I started the process of learning to scan and digitizing, and we were self-taught, and there are some great resources out there. I also do coaching. So if I have a family that is very do-it-yourself, I will coach them on how to do it, the best practices for digitizing on their own. Um, and so when we began to really downsize, not just to digitize to have that digital copy, but to physically live in 400 square feet, and I realized I can't bring my albums with me. I can't bring my boxes with me. I can't bring things physically with me. I'm not the only RVer or baby boomer who's downsizing who has this pain point. all of my classmates from high school are going through the same thing. Other people who are going full-time in RVs are going through the same thing. Kids that are my kids' age are actually going through the same thing as they're looking at their phone. My daughter announced to me this weekend she has 16,000 photos on her phone that we are going through and downsizing and then saving the important ones to her online storage that is permanent and secure.
Just hearing that, it's such a relief. I think I have like 7,000 pictures on my phone. I have to get more more storage in the cloud. This will actually save money as well.
It does in the long run, absolutely. And one of the things that I love to educate people on is learning that all cloud storage is not created equally. It is very important to do your due diligence and to find someone that you trust, that you can trust that they've done their due diligence to know the difference in the different cloud storage options, and look at the end game of what you're wanting to do with your photo archives, with your memory archives. Is it okay if they're just temporary and that when you pass away, your account is deleted? Or do you want that to go on to further generations, whether it's children and grandchildren, nieces and nephews, whoever would come after you? Do you want that preserved for them? So there's a difference in cloud storage options as far as what your end game would be to look at.
And Brenda, I'm wondering, as you are continuing to grow as a business owner, what are you finding about working from your RV, from your mobile home? What is that like?
For the most part, it's actually very simple in today's world, because if the pandemic taught us anything, it taught us that we can all still be connected even when we're not together. Today's a perfect example of that. Although we did have a few technology glitches in the very beginning, eventually it's come together here, and here we are, three of us in very different locations, still able to come together and share information and education with one another. And that's a lot of what I do from the remote aspect of it. I also am able to do a lot of hands-on because we travel. We have the opportunity, if someone needs us, to come to where they are to physically help work on a project. We have that freedom and ability to do that. The other thing is that I have little videos that I send to my clients that walk them through the steps of what we're going to do to get started. What does step one look like? What does step two look like? And once we've sat down and talked and we have those goals set, then I can customize that for each client and each customer that I work with.
It's really fascinating. So I'm wondering, as you're rolling along and conducting your business, so when you think about how important people's photographs are and what it might mean from generation to generation, you obviously are building a great deal of trust, which you do so well anyway. I think it's naturally, you're a trust builder. You're building that trust with people to take responsibility and help them with these things that mean so much. What does that mean to you to build those kind of relationships?
It's very important to me. My husband jokes with me sometimes because he looks at me and he goes, "How do you get so excited over other people's family pictures? These aren't even your family. These aren't your people." And it's like, oh, but when I know that what they are doing and how they are creating oftentimes a family archive and what that's going to mean to three generations down the road, I just get excited about that. And I praise people over and over and over again when they get started. And that is really one of the keys, is just starting. That journey of 1,000 miles starts with that first step. And oftentimes that's the hardest one to take when you don't know for sure exactly what direction you're going and you don't have somebody walking beside you. Then, I'm just going to sit here on a stump and wait until somebody walks by that's going the same direction, and then I'll step up with them. And I want to be that person. I want to be that person that's going in the direction that they want to go, and that I will walk beside them and help them do that, because family archives and telling your story is so important for down the road. Everyone's story is valuable. Everyone's story should be remembered in some format, whether you have kids and grandkids or not. You're going to have nieces and nephews. Someone is going to come back and want to know about you and your life and what you did and how you made a difference in the world. And I want to make sure that everyone's story has an opportunity to be preserved.
It's really beautiful, Brenda. You and I have attended some meetings together in the past, and my memories of those meetings were it started out for many years, there were PowerPoints, and then eventually there were no PowerPoints, and what evolved were showing pictures. And there really is an art to being a master storyteller. And in order to have that visualization, you need pictures, you need photographs. And so I feel like what you're doing is so much more than just for a family. It's also for a business. It's also for a legacy.
Yes, absolutely. Even within our businesses, when you look at corporate businesses and not just the little mom and pop businesses, but all of them, even they have a story to tell and an archive to keep for the generations to move forward in where did the business start from? Who was the family that
Mm.
started it? There is always a story to be told. Just to digress a little bit, one of my favorite stories to tell is I have a great great uncle. His name was Roy Couch, and he was born in the late 1800s. He and his wife had a set of twins that did not survive infancy, and then one daughter who had no children. So they have no grandchildren, no legacy to keep their memory and their story alive. But he has the coolest story. He was a carnival owner. He owned a Ferris wheel and a merry-go-round, and he had the first moving picture traveling show west of the Mississippi when it first got started, and they were showing those electric picture shows. I love finding information out about Roy and Zora Couch and creating that story that someday I'm going to hopefully put together into a little book and be able to share because their story is not just important to my family, um, because I'm actually double related to them, him and her. It's three brothers and two brothers and a sister married, sisters and a brother. Our family just got very intertwined. Um, but even what it means to the state of Iowa, Roy ran from southern Minnesota to northern Missouri with his carnival. And I've started to be able to map out where they were in what years and in 20s and 30s, where they were and how much it was to ride the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round, and see the picture show and cool stories like that that are historical, not just to my family, but to my state and to my area. Um, those are the things that just get me excited and get me out of bed in the mornings.
Now, do you have any passion for ancestry when you're talking about these pictures and history? You do. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's kind of a little side obsession that I have as well, is working in my family tree and finding cousins just this last weekend. I had messaged 3 years ago a third cousin that I just happened to find that through Ancestry, went and found him on Facebook, doesn't live very far away, sent him a quick message 3 years ago through Facebook. Last weekend, he finally responded and had seen the message and wanted to meet, and I shared information with him that he knew nothing about because he'd been estranged from his father, didn't know anything about my surname's history and stuff. I was able to take him all the way back to the 1700s and tell him about how our first ancestor who came over in the 1700s landed in Pennsylvania and bought land from the sons of William Penn. I have it all documented, even know where the land is to this day, and was able to introduce him to generations of his family that he had no idea existed.
Wow, that's so exciting. That
Yeah.
really is. So now you'll be creating some new pictures, some new memories as the more you connect with new family members. And I'm wondering when you look at the personal items that you have, the photographs that you have, what are you taking away from this journey? You've had an amazing journey so far. And what are you taking away visually from what you're putting together?
I'm taking away visually.
About your journey in photographs.
Well, for me, one of the things that I want to keep a lot of things, we all like to kind of hold on to, let's take, for example, for me, anniversary cards or Mother's Day cards and things like that. And we have this stack. Many of us have, or even I came across, Dr. JACALYN, I came across a very nice stack of thank you notes that I have been collecting from my job. When I've gotten done with programs that I've gotten an accolade or a thank you note, and I had all of this pile of them. And as we're downsizing, it was like, what am I going to do with these? What I learned I could do was I created an album in my permanent cloud storage. I've taken pictures of those cards and I've put them in an album there. So I still have them and generations going forward can come back and read them, but I don't need to have the physical card. I think part of what I've learned is that I want to hang on to what's important and have it documented, but I don't always have to have the physical item. And so that's one of the things I've learned a lot because sometimes I feel like I could have done an episode of Hoarders from time to time, in that I like to hold things rather tightly. So,
Well, and this is just a little bit of a digression, but you've lost a lot. And so I could see how you would want to hold on to some things, and because that might be the only thing you have except for the memories in your mind.
yes, and I tell everybody there comes a day when all we have left are our memories and our photos. My first husband passed away in 1991, and so the only way my children, my grandchildren are really going to get to know their dad and their grandpa is by the pictures and the stories that I maintain and share with them. So that's it's my job as um, the person who survived, is I want to keep their memory alive. I lost my mother not too long ago. A lot of what I do, I really do in honor and memory of her, because she's the one that really got me started on this journey. And so I love helping other people do these things because yes, at some point our memories are all we have left.
And Brenda, we've been featuring several people on this platform recently speaking about Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And sometimes we don't even have our memory left anymore. And photographs are a really good way of helping that patient reconnect, remembering special times in their lives. So I think that this is applicable for mental health wellness as well.
Oh, absolutely. I've helped several people create a memory book for that very purpose. And one of the best practices that we have found through my experience is that for best practices to actually take and digitize the photo first, then print the digital copy, either in a book or in an actual photograph for them to touch and to have, but to make sure that it's digital first. I know of a time where they took in a scrapbook for grandma to look at, and a few days later they came back, and where was the scrapbook? Well, they had thrown it away because they didn't know the people in it, and now the originals were gone. And so as a best practice, I always encourage everyone to scan them and digitize them first, just to make sure that on no off day, the originals are ever lost forever. Because again, we can't recreate that now.
Yeah, exactly. Brenda, that's a really good point. And I'm wondering if we have a lot of pictures, and I know you said we can scan them, is it possible to actually put them into a video, like drop them into some kind of video to make it sort of like a family entertainment where we sit and watch?
Absolutely. You can do legacy videos. I have worked on one for my dad. Oftentimes, when people start thinking about that, is for a funeral. The best time to start thinking about that is now, while you still have the person with you, and you can ask them questions, pick the photos together, tell the story that goes with it, maybe pick a topic. And do that. I've been doing that with my dad. I sat him down, gave all of his great grandchildren little cards with questions to ask him, and videotaped that, so that now going forward, my grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, and we're going to go generations on out, actually have the video of him telling about his grandparents, telling about what it was like growing up on the farm back in the 40s and 50s. He tells about getting the first telephone to the house, and now his great grandkids, half of them already have a cell phone in their pocket. So for them to hear those stories about you lived without a phone even in your house, or running water and electricity, that great generation has such good stories to tell us, and to capture those and to save those. And again, I go back to one of the most important things that I try and teach my clients is to understand the difference of where you're going to store them long term. Because if you're going through all this work and all of this, and it's not even work, it's a journey of love when you get through it all. I mean, it's the paths that you take are phenomenal, but you don't want to spend all of this time only to have it disappear someday digitally, and then it's all for naught if you haven't made sure that you're saving it on the right platform in the right format so that it can long outpace me or anyone else.
Thank you, Brenda. And I'm wondering, for people who are afraid of technology, they start shivering, quaking, and shaking. You actually take all that off their plate, right? You can teach them, coach them, work with them about the technology as well.
Absolutely. I kind of joke around that if I can teach my 80-year-old farmer dad how to do some of this stuff, I got you covered. We can work on this. So he's my guinea pig. He's my test, and he's doing great with it, and he loves being able to know that the pictures are there, and the way we have documented them and added metadata to them, we know that his photos are well documented and preserved and will be saved forever.
And for those who don't know, what is metadata?
So your grandma used to write on the back of the pictures that she had developed. Well, we don't do that anymore. You don't take a film in and get it developed and have a physical photo to hold. So grandma's version of metadata was right on the back. Our version of metadata is writing a description with the photo on the platform that you're using to save your photos in. So it's that description. So that's how I align the two. Think of grandma writing on the back of the photo, then we need to add the metadata um, physically to the photo that tells who's in it, maybe the story behind it, the context of it, and that information.
I love that you're doing that, because we were just sitting here as a family, I think last week, and we are looking at a bunch of, boxes and boxes of old pictures, and there's no information on there. It's like, gee, that would be great to know who that was and what they were doing.
Yes, and sometimes we become photo detectives. So we start looking at the photo. We maybe know one person. We're looking at hairstyles. We're looking at wallpaper. We're looking at what year was the car in the background, trying to decide when we think what era the photo was taken in. And I joke around that we have decided that ish is now an actual time. So it was, 1965-ish or 1972-ish. So we have determined that ish is now actually kind of a time frame to look at. And we become photo detectives. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, when we developed photos, they would actually put a little date and the year and the month that the film was developed, not when it was taken. So when I'm looking at a picture and it says April 1962, but it's Christmas, I got to stop and go, if this is April of 62, then this was Christmas of 61. And then quickly write on the photo that I figured that one out.
That's so funny that you mentioned about being a detective. It does come down to that. You start like looking at things in the background. Well, I wonder if it was around this time ish. It's so
Yes.
funny. So, Brenda, for people who are out there and they're in their corporate job, or maybe they're retired and they're thinking, "Wow, I've got more to give. There's something out there for me." What are some of the key learnings that you've had so far as an entrepreneur?
Stick with it. Just do it. I think that's one of the things that will oftentimes keep us from dipping our toe in the water and doing something outside our comfort zone or outside what we think we could do, even though we know that whatever it is that we are passionate about is a need, whether it's helping people to save their memories and their photos, or if it's organizing their home, or whatever it is that you are good at. I think sometimes fear gets in our way and we think, oh, I don't know if it'll be successful. I don't know if anybody would ever really trust me to help them. I don't know. And I don't know, just I'm one of those people that's like, just do it. Start out slow and part-time. I mean, you can learn everything on YouTube at some point in time and start there and just that's kind of what I decided, especially since I was furloughed and I did have the time to branch out and try something new and reinvent myself a little bit. Uh, right now, I'm actually trying to find that balance between I love what I do over here with photos. And my corporate job is picking back up because we're all traveling again and meetings are coming back online and incentive travel and vacations and everything. And so I'm really busy back over here in the job that I love. Now I'm trying to get that balanced, and it'll take me a little while. Plus, for mobile, so let's throw that into the mix as well. Uh, learning that dance.
It's definitely a dance for sure, but I think what ends up happening is we find our passion and we decide to go one way or another, but it doesn't happen overnight. And to something else that you mentioned, every one of us has had different chapters of our lives and different things that we may not even be aware of that we actually are good at. Maybe it was a hobby, maybe we had a side gig, maybe it was something we were great in high school. And then as we get older, we start to look at where does our happiness come from? And then all of a sudden we realize, wow, I never realized when I was doing this, and this, that I could be taking them all together and doing this.
Yes, and I like what you said about finding where our happiness comes from. Where do we really bloom in what we do and what we like to talk about and what we like to share with people and what that important thing is, and that we might even not even think it's important until a different light shines on it, like the pandemic hits or something else happens. My husband was burned. I would have never come this direction had that not happened. So sometimes it's things that happen in our life that shine a light on what we do in a different light, and we're like, I never thought about that. I never thought that others could learn this from me, that I have this service to bring, that I have this um, item of value that I can share with my community, with with the world. The internet is always at our fingertips now. We can actually reach the world with what we do and what we love.
You said it so well, Brenda. I agree with you. So, as we come to the end of our show, what does that process look like in working with you? What's the first step, and then what can people expect as a result?
The first step is reaching out to me. And you can do that by going to our website, which is preservingmemorylane.org. And our contact information is there. The email is there. The phone number is there. And reach out, and we will set up a time to talk about what do you have for a project? Do you know what you have you found it? What do you want to achieve with it? And we'll walk through that process. We'll find those 5 items that I talked about earlier that you would be most heartbroken over losing. And that's where we'll start. And I'll walk you through. If you're a DIYer, I'll coach you in how to do that. If you're like, I'm just going to give it all over and I want it back when it's pretty, I will walk you through the steps to do that. Um, we talk about budget, we talk about everything in that first meeting so that we know for sure where you want to get with your memories. And maybe you don't even know, but you know that the boxes and the totes aren't the right answer. So again, just reach out to me and I will help you unpack those boxes and decide what is the best path for you and your family, your personal archive and your story, and just help you get started with that.
Brenda, thanks so much. I do have a follow up question for what you just mentioned. When you said hand it over to you, do you mean physically walk to find your RV or send it?
Both. I have done both. So I have actually gone on site and received totes of photos and memories and scrapbooks and albums and things. I've had things sent to me. So both. Again, I try and meet my clients where they are, literally sometimes. And that's one of the things that we talk about in that initial consultation is where you're physically located. I might have an associate closer to you that can help if you need someone to come on site sooner. We get a time frame put into place, all of those necessary steps to get you so that eventually down the road you have a complete archive of your photos and your memories.
Fantastic, Brenda. We have your website up there, preservingmemorylane.org. Thank you so much for being here today. It was a pleasure seeing you, and that picture of you and your husband. You both look fabulous and happy, and you're just glowing.
Thank you. It's always a good investment of my time to come and chat with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again on one of our other shows.
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. And by the way, Mr. Cini apologizes that his connection just finally went. So he was watching and really found it fascinating. If you would like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com. Also, if you're on our YouTube channel, please do subscribe. You'll see the numbers are going up and up and up. And I am so grateful for all of you who are watching our shows and just enjoying our content. We provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Our newsletter magazine went out today. Please check your spam folder for an email from Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com. Going forward in the future, in a couple of weeks, we will be not sending out that email anymore with the newsletter. We actually have a new website, the Global Post magazine, which we're working on, and it will be a full-fledged magazine with different sections featuring our guests like Brenda, featuring our team members. So please look forward to that, and please go subscribe by going to usaglobaltv.com. Click subscribe. All right, thanks for coming right back with the men's show called Wild at Heart, a show for men, by men, about men, led by Mr. Roland Friedel. He's also the moderator of a panel of men from around the world. Today's topic will be, how much body care do real men need? Thanks again. We'll see you soon.